Right, welcome back to the channel. We got another one for you. So today I'm going to be doing a Marsala cream tortellini with filet mignon. Next on Around the Armstrong table. Alright, welcome back to the channel. Let's get this dish started. So we're going to start off with some shallots. I'll get these chopped up and diced nice and small, and that's going to be the base of our sauce. We're also going to chop up about 6 cloves of garlic. Of course, you guys know garlic is essential to almost any of the dishes that I make. And then next, I'm going to actually chop up some fresh parsley. So most of the time, you don't get to see my my knife skills. You know, I'm okay with it. And so next, we'll start with the fillet. So here's what I did. I went ahead and I added some sea salt to the steaks. And obviously, you know, on the steaks, you gotta make sure that you season both sides of the steaks. I'm gonna add that salt to it. And what I want to do is let these dry brine for just a few minutes. So I'll season them up and put them aside, and make sure you get all of the edges, the sides, everything, and we'll get the steaks all ready to go. I'll get my board cleaned up, and then we'll come back with the sauce part of this dish. Be right back. Alright guys, so we're gonna take a nice skillet, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with some avocado oil and a little bit of butter. And this is going to be to cook our portobello mushrooms to start our Marsala cream sauce. So we'll get that butter swirled around for just a second, let that come in, and then we'll bring in those portobello mushrooms. What I used is just 1 carton of the mushrooms. I got them diced already. Obviously you can dice these yourself if you would like, but it was just easier for me to go ahead and just get them like this, so that way I didn't have to do it. And I did check all of the mushrooms to clean them as best as possible. Make sure you clean your mushrooms, make sure there's no dirt on them. And basically these are going to cook in stages. What you want to do, you know, mushrooms, believe it or not, has a lot of water in them, so you want to get all of that cooked down and get those mushrooms nice and caramelized before you start adding any other ingredients in. And this is going to take, I would say, anywhere between 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how you like them, what texture or how much brown flavor you want to get onto the mushrooms. As you can see, these look really good, and they're at a point now where I can start adding some other ingredients. So earlier we diced up the shallots, so those are going to go in right now. So I'll get the shallots in and let them start to cook up with the mushrooms a little bit. And we really want to just let them sweat. You don't need to have the shallots caramelized, because the longer they stay in there, they're gonna start to get some of that flavor that's already in the pot. And I'm telling you, it's just gonna add a nice depth of flavor and a good base to it. So that's where we're at with those guys. We'll let them cook up for just a minute, and then we'll come back and add few more ingredients to this dish. But this is a fun one. So now we add our garlic, and I want to make sure you guys know, obviously I added 6 cloves of garlic, but the music that you hear in the background is courtesy of my younger brother Jeremy. He is he makes his own beats, and he's been gracious enough to bless me with a new track that I can use for my videos. So he made this particular beat, and I think it really is going to add some value for me, just to know that he took the time to put something together for his big brother. So I really appreciate it. I added some Marsala wine. That's going to be the foundation of the sauce right there. With that Marsala wine, if you haven't had it before, obviously Italian restaurants, you go to Olive Garden, some of those places, or some of the more high-end ones, they use this wine, but it has a real good, almost like a sweet taste to it. and it's a great flavor. So you just want to get that in there, let that come up to a quick boil. I don't want to actually let this cook off because I love the flavor of it. But for some people who want to cook this down, you actually can cook it down a little bit more. This is on a medium-high heat, so you can cook it down a little bit more. So I went ahead and added my heavy cream, just about a half of a cup. And again, you guys have seen me use heavy cream before. It just, adds that creaminess to the dish. But this is going to be a little bit of a looser sauce. It doesn't have to be like an Alfredo sauce, if you want to say. There is going to be some cheese in there, so I am going to add some grated Parmesan cheese. But the sauce, what I'll do is I'll let it cook down and let the cheese develop some flavor. I added about a cup of cheese, and it's going to be a very, very light sauce, but when everything comes together with the tortellini, it's going to be really good. So we'll go ahead and start cooking the steak up next. Okay, it is steak time. So I went ahead and put my sauce aside, and I got my cast iron skillet out. I put some avocado oil in there already, and obviously my fillets have been resting. You see where I added the pepper on there as well. I've been waiting to cook steak for you guys. So I'm going to keep this really, really simple, okay? I'm going to let that steak develop and get a really, really nice crust on it, okay? And what we do with the steaks, we're going to cook them for a little bit, okay? Just so they develop that crust. And you'll see in a minute when I go ahead and show you guys this beautiful crust on this side of the steak. I mean, that right there. Come on, that's what you want. Look at that. So I'll go ahead and flip it over, get to the other side, and we're gonna do the same thing. But we want to make sure we cook all the sides of the steak, so that way when you cut into the steak, all your juices don't run out. Okay. So I'll go ahead and cook this in the cast iron skillet. You can see the beautiful color on it. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let them rest for just a minute, and I'll throw in some butter after I've let the pot cool down, because what you want to do is you want to bring the temp down on your pot, so that way it's not like scorching hot, but you still want that brown flavor. So I let the pot reduce. You still will see a little bit of that smoke, but that's what you want. So then you throw the steak back in, and you start the best thing that you can do to a steak, which is butter baste it. Okay, so you'll see me put the steaks back in here, and I mean, again, it's not so high as it was before, but then you come in with your spoon and you start to baste it. And your butter, see when it's foaming up like that, that's beautiful, because all of that is, you're not eating all the butter, that's the nice thing, but it just gives it such depth of flavor. Now I didn't add any garlic or rosemary, anything like that, because of my other ingredients that I have with this one. Again, the depth of flavor would have been there if I would have added it, but in this case, we didn't need to. So I'll continue to baste these and really get them nice. My wife likes her steak medium well. I like mine medium rare. So we'll put those aside and finish up the pasta. All right, so now that I got my steaks resting, as you can see my pot behind my cast iron skillet, so I brought some water up to a boil, and I'm gonna throw in these tortellini noodles. Okay, these are three cheese filled, and I just went to the grocery store and just got a pack from my local grocery store. It works out perfect for us. These will cook up pretty quick. You want to get them to where they're tender, and then they'll start to basically finish cooking once you move them over to the sauce. So I'll go ahead and I brought them up to a boil. Now I'm going to actually move them to the sauce and get them incorporated with that sauce. Like I said, this sauce is it's a lighter sauce, so it's not going to have that Alfredo type of feel to it, but it's packed with a ton of flavor. And just let those all come together and cook up. And then what we'll do is, once we have everything incorporated, I'm going to go ahead and obviously plate this all up and bring it all together after we cut up our steaks. All right, look at the beautiful crust on the steak. So I'm going to cut these on a bias. That's going to be a perfect medium for the way that my wife likes her steak. Okay, and then mine is in the back. That one I took out a little bit earlier, so that one's going to be a nice medium rare. And I mean, again, as you can see, the juices, they're not running away because they're all right there in the steak. That's what you want on a perfect steak. So I'm gonna slice this up, and then what we'll do is once I get this sliced up, I'll get each one plated. We'll come back and do our assemble. But as you can see, this is beautiful. All right, now it's time to go ahead and assemble this dish. So I've already got my steaks cut up. Full disclosure, I went ahead and had that little piece on the end. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I went ahead and ate that. I couldn't resist. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the plate. I already put the pasta on there, and what we'll do is finish this up with some chopped parsley. I added some parsley to the sauce already, and then you go ahead and you just ladle that sauce right over the top of the steak and finish it up, like I said, with a little bit of chopped parsley. If you want to, you can also add some fresh Parmesan cheese to this. But this is a beautiful dish from my table to yours. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and y'all have a good one.